to CBS Mornings. We are here. I'm Gail King.
I'm Tony DeCopel. And I'm Nate Burleson.
Yes, he is. Let's go to today's eye-opener. It's your world in 90 seconds.
The U.S. hitting 40 million cases of coronavirus, hospitalizations and deaths rising.
COVID patients overrun hospitals, causing life-threatening delays for others who need care. A Texas doctor sounds the alarm.
This is the worst possible scenario. It's not going to get any better, but we're going to keep going.
President Biden will be in New Jersey to witness firsthand the devastation caused by Hurricane Ida.
Pre-trial hearings set to resume in Guantanamo in a case of 5 people accused of plotting the 9/11 attacks.
A remarkable escape from the Taliban when an American woman and her 3 children got out of Afghanistan via an overland route.
And a CBS News investigation. We look into staggering allegations of domestic abuse in the military.
I felt so betrayed by the Air Force. You feel the military betrayed you. It was severe betrayal.
All in the game, yo.
Actor Michael K. Williams found dead from a possible drug overdose.
This giraffe turned heads in Southern California when it turned up on the beach in Santa Monica.
Plus, we welcome you to our new home in Times Square. Those billboards don't light up themselves.
If you press that button right there, it should light up our new sign.
Oh, wow.
There we are. It looks
Jerry,
good.
that looks good. Seriously.
Looking great.
Oh, wow.
This morning's eye-opener is presented by Progressive, making it easy to bundle insurance.
Welcome to CBS Mornings. It was the only thing I could say when I saw the billboard was, oh, wow, because I have to say, I thought it looked really good. But today, don't you guys feel like it's the first day of school? I went and bought a new dress, got a new pen.
Oh, that's funny. I got a new tie. We got a new co-host here.
Yes.
I got a new suit on. I'm glad to be here.
Me
Thankful
too,
to be in this position.
too.
You look great, by the way.
Thank you.
Of course, Tony, you look awesome.
Thank you very much. Look at you bringing the cookies.
But this is the thing, when we pulled up this morning at Times Square, it really did feel different. It was a lot of lights, camera, action.
That's right.
All the lights, really, Jeff drives me every morning. He said, well, I have to say, this is exhilarating.
It is
amazing.
amazing.
It did feel very different
Center of the universe.
this morning.
Crossroads of the world, right?
That's
right. Yep.
I felt like Dorothy, not in Kansas anymore. But this is where we're going to begin. We are very excited to be here. We've got new warnings straight from the COVID front lines, as there are fears that Labor Day travel could lead to another spike in cases. More than 5.3 million travelers were screened by TSA officers over the holiday, even as the average daily death count from COVID jumped 130% over the last month. Now, that's the worst it's been since March, before the vaccines were widely available. Our lead national correspondent, that is David Begnaud, just visited a Texas hospital where staff are struggling, really struggling to keep up. David, good morning to you. This is so troubling.
It is, Gail. About a week ago, we told you the story of Daniel Wilkinson, the U.S. Army veteran who died in a Texas hospital last month. He died because he couldn't get access to the specialized care that he needed in time to save his life. All of the hospitals that could save him were full of COVID patients. So we went back to talk to that ER doctor that tried to save him, Dr. Hassan Kakli. And what we found was a caregiver furious and frustrated that he can't get people the care they need in the time they need it.
COVID is kicking humanity's ass. And as a member, as a team player on Team Humanity, I take that personally.
This is Dr. Hassan Kakli. He is in a race against time, but right now he is losing.
It's okay, Araceli.
His patient, 50-year-old Araceli, has been unresponsive since he admitted her to El Campo Memorial Hospital roughly 3 days ago.
It's okay.
She needs an ICU bed and an evaluation from a cancer specialist. El Campo has neither. Despite being just 76 miles from Houston, home to the world's largest medical complex and more than 85 different hospitals, Dr. Kakli can't find one that will accept her as a transfer. Everyone is overwhelmed with COVID patients.
And I tried to get her into the best cancer hospital in the world, which is also in Houston, and they couldn't take her.
Kakli told us the wait times here in the ER are unprecedented.
You would never see 4 digits on minutes since checked in. We're 4 digits on the thousands of minutes. We've never seen this, ever.
But Dr. Kakli understands what the other hospitals are facing. Here in El Campo, the beds are almost entirely filled with COVID patients, too.
So 20 patients in the hospital, only 1 does not have COVID.
Wow.
That's how it's been. Past 3 weeks.
Wow.
Every day.
Like, tell him, Annie.
Every day.
Every day.
For nearly 4 days, he and his team have worked the phones. Nurse Virginia Broman called almost every hospital in Houston.
All righty. Thank you. Bye-bye. No, they don't have any beds.
While Dr. Cackley called MD Anderson Cancer Hospital, and he pressed them politely.
So at this point, it's kind of like, we need help. Like, if she didn't have the malignancy and we had an open ICU bed, we would take care of her here.
Finally, he got it. A yes. They accepted Araceli.
I thought you'd be all jubilant and...
No, I'm not jubilant because it shouldn't take 4 days and 5 phone calls to make this happen. It's sad that we're all relieved and happy that we finally got a patient out after 4 days. Like, that's where the bar is right now. Like, we got him out eventually. And kudos to the entire staff here, the other ER docs, the other staff that have been keeping this patient alive for as long as we have. If we get through this, like, the team that we have here, like our bond and everything that we have is just going to be that much stronger if we get through this.
If we don't kill each other first.
Exactly. If we don't kill each other first, we'll be good.
It was one of the few times they laughed together that day. But the good feelings did not last for long. 5 COVID patients walked into the ER while we were there, and none of them were vaccinated.
One more question. Yeah. How are you?
How am I? I'm still going. I've had to accept the worst possible case scenario. It's that this is the worst possible scenario. It's not going to get any better, but we're going to keep going. And that's it. All right, let's get to it.
That's a good man. Dr. Cackley told us that in order to keep patients alive, he and his team are having to do medical procedures and treatments they don't normally do. They're not trained for this. They are operating beyond the scope of their usual protocols and training. Typically, they'd move a patient before some of those procedures, and they'd get them in and out of the ER within 24 hours. They simply can't do it. Yeah. And, you know, you asked while we were watching the piece, are they angry at these people? I never saw them angry. They're resigned. You know, he did say to me at one point, he goes, stop telling us that we shouldn't treat unvaccinated patients. That's not going to happen. Yeah. We're always going to treat them. Yeah. We're going to move on.
We have an oath. We have a duty. People say when we can get back to normal. We're not going to get back to normal until our hospitals are functioning normally, and those doctors are shell-shocked.
Yeah, but I certainly feel their frustration because they know it doesn't have to be this bad if people would get vaccinated. Of course, they're going to treat them because that is their job, and they're going to do that.
Yeah, individuals like him, they're titled essential workers, but a more fitting word is heroes.
Yeah. Bingo.
David, thank you so much. This morning, there are new signs the Taliban is cracking down on opposition in Afghanistan. Taliban militants fired weapons into the air to break up a demonstration in the capital. The people were protesting the Taliban's reported capture of the country's last uncontrolled province. Charlie Daggett is in Doha, Qatar, where top officials are holding talks on Afghanistan. Charlie, good morning.
Good morning to you, Nate. These aren't just anti-Taliban protests. A lot of people are shouting, long live the resistance, in support of resistance fighters in Panjshir. Now, if this continues, it could pose a major problem for the Taliban. They raged in Kabul again today. Anti-Taliban protests that are growing in size and fury by the day. Heavy gunfire broke out, shots fired to disperse the crowds, sending people scrambling. The protesters include many women shouting freedom, other demonstrators yelling death to Pakistan for meddling in Afghanistan.
They beat a woman who took off the Taliban flag.
Another demonstration held in the north of the country in support of women's rights. Each protest a bold gamble against a regime known for its extreme brutality. As the Taliban tightens its grip on power, the U.S. State Department says an American family of 4 was able to flee overland. But there's growing outrage over Americans and Afghans still stranded in the country. Satellite images show 6 evacuation planes at the Mazar-e-Sharif airport amid accusations they've been grounded by the Taliban for nearly a week. Marina Legree is the founder of Ascend Athletics, a group helping Afghan women and girls trying to get out.
The U.S. government has contacts with the Taliban. I mean, these are the same people we've been negotiating with for a very long time in Doha. Surely there's some outreach that could be done and some levers that could be pulled to release these people.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken has arrived here in Doha for some high-level crisis talks. He said they're in touch with around 100 citizens, U.S. citizens who are still in Afghanistan, and they're doing everything they can to make sure that those charter flights are able to leave safely. Tony?
Charlie Daggett for us once again in Doha, Qatar. Charlie, thank you very much. 5 men accused of helping the 9/11 hijackers are due in a military court today for the first time in a year and a half. The hearing in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, comes near the 20th anniversary of the terror attacks that killed nearly 3,000 Americans. Senior investigative correspondent Catherine Herridge is in Cuba at Guantanamo Bay for us. Catherine, good morning to you. What's behind all these delays?
Tony, the lawyers are still arguing over the evidence, and there is no date on the calendar for the actual trial to begin. This pretrial hearing is the first time the 5 defendants have gone to the high security court since February last year. The latest judge on the case retired, and then the pandemic hit. The 5 defendants, including the self-described architect of the attack, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, are accused of war crimes, among them conspiring to commit acts of terrorism, hijacking, and the intentional murder of civilians. The biggest legal block is the continued secrecy surrounding the men's detention before they got to Guantanamo. After 9/11, they were captured and held in CIA secret prisons, where they were subjected to interrogation tactics that critics call torture, including waterboarding and sleep deprivation. To this day, much of the evidence is off limits to the defense. These delays have gone on for so long that I know some 9/11 family members who have traveled to Guantanamo to see the defendants in court and have since died, never seeing justice in their lifetime, Nate.
Catherine, thank you so much. President Biden will travel to New York and New Jersey today to see Ida's aftermath firsthand. It's the deadliest hurricane to hit the U.S. in 4 years. 69 people were killed, most by extreme flooding in the Northeast. Mola Lenghi has been speaking to families in the Manville, New Jersey area, one of the stops on Mr. Biden's tour. Mola, good morning.
Well, good morning, Nate. What the president will see on his tour today is everything from vehicles that were tossed around by this deadly storm to businesses that were damaged to homes destroyed, completely destroyed by the deadly storm. Governor Phil Murphy tells us that scenes like this only highlight the desperate need for infrastructure repair.
Seeing the entire house underwater and the other house burning, seeing everything is just heartbreaking.
That's Jason and Jonathan Murata's house. Now, a charred stove is about the only thing recognizable in the rubble of their Manville, New Jersey home.
Big boom. Roof exploded.
You heard and saw it at that time?
Yeah, we saw it blow up. We were just talking about how the house is salvageable. We can try to get some stuff from the second, maybe first floor, and maybe few minutes later after we say that, see the roof blow off.
The deadly storm that first hit Louisiana as a Category 4 hurricane is linked to more than 60 deaths and damages up to $95 billion. Now, New Jersey's Democratic leaders are calling on Congress to pass a pending infrastructure bill that would provide funds to help communities become more resilient to disasters and severe weather. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy.
These storms are now more frequent. They're more intense. We desperately need that climate resiliency infrastructure. But we're the most densely populated state in the nation, with a location second to none, but very exposed to the impacts of climate change.
Amy Chester is managing director at Rebuild by Design, a nonprofit focused on climate resiliency. She says updated infrastructure is critical to saving lives.
Either we throw a massive amount of money at the problem and build the infrastructure that we need to withstand the future, or we move out of harm's way.
Anita Menti wants to be optimistic that change is coming, but she is exhausted after living through 3 major floods here in Manville.
We don't have much hope because every time we have been promised that we're going to have help, that something's going to happen to prevent us from being flooded, but nothing is being done.
That's Anita Menti, of course, expressing her frustration, her exhaustion, she says, with almost 30 years worth of broken infrastructure promises, as she describes it. Remember, this is the 3rd time she's picking up the pieces to her home. Insurance experts say that the claims from this storm could top $18 billion, Gail.
Wow, Anita Menti, she's been through a lot. Thank you very much, Mola. CBS News meteorologist and climate specialist, that's Jeff Baradelli, is here now with what these changing weather systems mean for the rest of the country, not just in terms of the storms, which we see are devastating, but also the heat. Jeff, good morning to you, because this heat is brutal.
Yeah, good morning, guys, and good morning, everyone. So it is not just the West that we have heat problems, it's the deep South as well. So let's go to the weather wall and expand this to show you. First of all, take a look at what's happening in Louisiana. So we have heat, we have humidity, feels like temperatures in the mid-90s to near 100 degrees without power. A dangerous situation. Also dangerous in the West. Once again, another heat dome across the West for the next several days. We're going to see record high temperatures. Could be as many as 50 or 60 in the West. In fact, we could hit 110 degrees in the valleys of California. That is not good news for firefighters who are fighting over 60 fires in the West. This is the Bridge Fire. It's a small fire. 500 people have had to evacuate because of this, but we have much bigger fires. In fact, the Dixie Fire is 900,000 acres. Another 100,000 acres, it will become the largest fire in California history, beating, you guessed it, last year's fires. So this is not a coincidence. This is climate change. Why are we seeing all of these really, really big fires? Well, let's bring this up and send it on over to the big weather wall and talk about exactly what's going on right now. So notice this upward trend. Fire weather days are increasing because we have a lot more heat, a lot more dry conditions across the West. And now we have a drought. And that drought exponentially. We see an exponential increase in fires, the intensity of fires, the acres burned because of extra dryness. So a little more dryness, a little more heat causes an exponential increase. So that's likely to continue in the future as long as we keep warming the planet. And as we head through the next couple of months, cold fronts will move in. Cold fronts are good. It cools it down, but it also dries it out. And the wind is bad. We're getting into peak wind season in the West. Santa Ana winds, Diablo winds. That means hurricane force wind gusts across the West. And what that means is things are going to become more complicated for firefighters, unfortunately, before things get more simpler over the next few months, guys.
Man, Jeff, I'm looking at the fires. I'm looking at the rain. I'm thinking about people like Amita Menti, who you get heavy rain. Do you have to worry now every time that you could possibly die in your own homes? This is mind-boggling to me.
We have to really get prepared for climate change. As you can see, it's ramping up very fast.
It's a great information. Tough situation for so many people in this country, but we're all also very excited to see that map jump from that map.
You like that? I get my cardio. That's how I get my cardio every day from now.
Well done, Jeff.
Yeah. Well done, Jeff.
Well done.
Right. Thank you very much, Jeff. Coming up, CBS News investigates claims that the U.S. military ignored reports of domestic violence within its own ranks.
You feel the military betrayed you.
It was severe betrayal.
Do each of you feel that way?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Betrayed?
Yes.
Survivors tell Nora O'Donnell the military did not protect them. Nora will join us here at the table with her report. There she is. She's in our green room. Nora's in New York this morning.
Hey.
She's going to join us in just a minute. But first, it is 7:17. Time to check your local.
Good morning. A lot of kids back to school, and at this point, it is perfect out there. Mostly sunny skies going to carry us right towards the 80-degree mark for the second half of the day. Nothing in our way, and there really shouldn't be much of a hassle for tomorrow either. A little glimpse of rain as we go into the evening hours, but I think mainly dry through Wednesday. Now, overnight into Thursday, bit of a different scenario. We have some embedded thunderstorms, some heavier rain, gusty winds. Should be rain ready all day long on Thursday. Brighter skies for the end of the week.